Let's go, bub. Up we go. Straight up. Keep going. Come on. Let's go. It's Joe. She's smelling that brand new elk track. This way. This way. Look at that trail. Come on, city girl. Let's go. All right, here we are. Here we are. It is May 5th, coming to you almost live from the Stand, Canada Stand. I'll probably never stop referring to this country as the Stand from these days forward. Funny, I woke up this morning. I got a lot to share today. A lot of informative emails, some fresh emails, some follow-up emails, and a lot of very interesting words from good, honest people. All right. Now, quick note. I woke up at 5 o'clock this morning, couldn't sleep, put on some podcast to try to lull me to sleep. I ended up listening to a woman I hadn't heard of before. She's been around, talking a lot, been in Jordan Peterson, Lex Friedman. She's been all over the place. Canadian from Manitoba. She served with Canadian forces in Afghanistan. And she has a lot to say, and she nails it on the head. So I thought, holy shit, does this woman need to be heard? And I posted the video in the post. It's called the posts section of my channel. And I encourage many to hear it, because she basically explains, in a nutshell, everything that I've been aware of for a long time. What stands out for me, especially these days, is a handful of years ago, someone who I have great respect for, very educated, very smart, way smarter than me, told me flat out that Canada has fallen quite some time ago. And they sold everything and left the country a few years ago now. And I always take note of that. And when as soon as somebody says something to me that has an impact on me, I put that in a shelf, right? And I wait and see the patterns coming. And holy shit, every time I see a new pattern, clue, in your face clue, that man's words blast through my skull to the point now it's happening every 10 minutes. But anyway, it's funny. One of the things the woman shared was she felt that they were in Afghanistan to fight the maniacs and the Sharia law and what they've been doing to people, only to come home and see that Sharia law is now allowed in the province of Ontario. But cancer's got to start somewhere, right? Look into it. Google that one up. Google that one up. And listen to her if you're curious. What else? The amount of love and welcoming, opening arms coming from south of this border to me, us, is I'm hearing, I'm reading it, I'm seeing it, and I don't even know what to say. I'm sending it all right back. It is absolutely, it's just real good to see. On that note as well, I'll just get all this out of the way quick, and then we'll get into hearing from the people. But I've been looking into relocating to another country, potentially United States. And right now, as a Canadian, you can spend up to 6 months a year in the United States without holding a passport there. And you can also buy a home in the United States as a Canadian citizen. So what I'm thinking right now, would the easiest first step would just be to buy a place, because that's basically all I do here anyway. This is home base for all my shit. But we do a couple months overseas in the wintertime. All I need is a few months on the ocean. Maybe a month and a bit hunting, and that's it. I'm good. And then the rest could be possibly spent at a different home base. And while accumulating my tribe, like-minded people who don't have much patience when it comes to bullshit and are willing to stand up and fight it. I've been looking here. I'm not finding my people here. Everybody's rolled over with their ass in the air here. It's very frustrating. And you can please listen to that podcast, because she says everything that I'd like to say, and she just rattles it right off. And she also noted all the successful, very smart Canadians. They're all leaving, one after the other. They're all leaving. They see the writing on the wall. They're not dumb. It's frustrating. Very sad. Going out there, dogs out there. But anyway, moving along. I'm feeling the love, and I'm sending it right back, and it's pretty freaking awesome. Let me tell you that much. Now, what else? I think that's about all I could really babble on for right now. But I have some emails we need to hear. All right. Who do we got? What do we got? I've had a few people actually email me and ask me, why do you say bad things about the BFRO? I can't believe I get asked that, but let's clear this up right now. Now, I know one of the first times I spoke openly on here was about myself, my first experience, but then I don't see that as too significant, and I always transition straight to my grandfather, because that was what absolutely confirmed what I saw and what I knew as to be true for me, no matter what anybody thought or said. But what really, with the biggest impact on me was the fact. Somebody here? No, the fact that my grandfather had climbed in a sheet metal tube full of bombs and flew in that thing over top of frickin' Germany. And it's no secret how many of those bombing flights failed and they all died, right? He saw many of his friends killed in action. And he did that, in his mind, he did it for all of us. Willing to lay down his life and a ball of fire smashing into the ground in Germany for us. And it really struck me of how scared he was and how hesitant he was to share with me, let alone public, the rest of the family, of what he saw in broad frickin' daylight in front of his face. Didn't ask for it, but he saw it. And it's the truth. You know, it's the truth. And I thought, holy shit, how does such an incredible human being like him, a true gentle man, absolutely intelligent, be brave enough to jump in that tube full of bombs while who knows what high percentage of all those planes are getting blasted out of the sky? Still did it. But it was overwhelming, the fear of ridicule and maybe to get shunned from the herd, the tribe here. If he shared his truth of what he saw without asking was just had such an impact on me. Why I'm here today, right? Why all of us are here today. It wasn't for him. But imagine if... So when you see firsthand how much courage it takes, unfortunately, I don't get it. It really pisses me off. But when you see how much courage it takes for someone to come forward and speak openly about what they saw, plain as day, and then and I think about how many years many people harbor that experience. They're frustrated. I'll guarantee you they don't stop thinking about it every day. Every day they're going to think about it at least once. You know what I'm talking about if that's you. We're in the same boat. But can you imagine harboring that experience in between your ears while you're surrounded with friends, coworkers, and family, and you can't get it out? It's too risky. It's too scary. What a frickin' torture chamber that is. Isn't that horrible? That is a horrible life sentence. Now imagine if you've harbored that experience in your head for all those years. You're terrified. It's like, oh my God, oh my God. Oh, all of a sudden this website comes up and these people who are there for me. Finally, thank God I found my people. Finally found a safe place to share my experience. Finally. Whew. Okay, well, here it goes. And then they get up the courage to share their experience with those douchebags. And then possibly, potentially, which they've done to many, I'll say allegedly, although people I know and respect infiltrated. Okay, anyway, and they submit their experience only to have them publish it, share it, and omit the important parts. Imagine what that does to that person. It must just be crushing, right? And if they don't do that, then they do the other move that they've done numerous times, which was didn't acknowledge their experience publicly and shamed them, belittled them, and humiliated them and said, no, you didn't see that there. They're not there. And what you did see was a bear. And how many people have done that to? Okay? And then, to throw some salt in the wound, they go out of their way to annihilate the career and the character of a awesome human being, a female doctor, Dr. Melba Ketchum, because she's coming forward with her honest truth, with honest facts and honest truth. They annihilated her life, took part, played big roles in it. So there you go. If you missed all of that and what I'm about, what I stand for, there you go. So you understand. And yes, I do know there's a lot of good people associated with everyone. Every group out there has a lot of good people associated with them. But sadly, the so-called, I'll say it again, the so-called big names when it comes to this topic have been proven to be a bunch of lying, narcissistic, frickin' douchebags. Lens, whore, money worshipping, power worshipping, whatever it is that motivates them. They are what I consider the enemy to me. So there you go. And I'm not scared of my enemies. All right? I'm not scared. If I find out, I don't give a shit where or who or what. If I find out that you have gone out of your way to annihilate an innocent person, I find out and I can do something about it, or at least expose your frickin' greasy ass, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm the guy that's going to run into you in the street and we're going to have words if I find out. Do you know what I mean? And we need a whole army of people like that with that same mindset. Anyway, I'll stop babbling, but there you go. For any of you who have been a little upset in the past, there you go. That's why. All right? A little fired up today, aren't I? All right, who's next? Fresh out of the basket, Steve. Dave Denault here again. I just watched yesterday's video in which you read my email titled Life Experiences Part 2. I feel greatly honored that you read my recent email to you. My first email, Life Experiences, was sent to you at least 2 years ago. It covers my multiple UFO experiences, a large blue, orb traveling above a road, and my Sabe/forest people experiences. If you choose to search for it, I leave that in your court, good sir. Back to the purpose of this email. In yesterday's videos, you asked me to tell you the results of my smudging around the property and cabin. I'm pleased to say that we've not had a repeat visit of that entity, so I'll tell you and the How to Hunt family. I'll let you and the How to Hunt family decide as to the reason for that. I believe that we're all involved in a spiritual war, and therefore we all must do whatever we can, and what resonates with us to fight against the dark forces that seem to be arranged against us. Hear, hear. Hell yeah. Once again, thank you for all that you do. God bless you, Sarah, and your entire family. You're an inspiration to the entire How to Hunt family. And if anything else occurs, I'll be sure to write in again. All the best, David Denault. Sweet. I love emails like that. Appreciate you, man. Big time. And I think there's a lot of people out there that think that I pick and choose emails. Sometimes I'll be reading an email forever, and I mean forever, like 15 or 20 minutes, and it still hasn't gotten to anything even related to an experience or knowledge that can help you guys. And all of a sudden I'll go, holy shit, come on, no way. Why did I read this? And I won't share that. But as far as encounters and knowledge and experiences, I read them fresh off the plate right in front of you guys. So, sorry, I'm just saying. I'll search and I'll find your other email and I will share it. It's just that I have thousands. They're all over the place, scattered. And I'm a one-man crew, right? The shit that I pull off daily, weekly, monthly in life. Holy cow. Anyway, appreciate you, man. Good news. Good news. Now, who's next? Thank you from Mary. Now, the name Mary rings a recent bell, and I think I'm excited to hear from Mary for sure. Hello, Steve. I would like to thank you and the How to Hunt family. I wrote in a while back about some activity, some activity around my cabin. The advice you gave and all the comments from your viewers was very helpful. My new TV has YouTube on it, and I listen to you every morning as I have my coffee. I catch your new one, and I'm going back to catch old ones. The stories are amazing. This has been an eye-opener and educational for me. I've accepted that they are here. You would be proud of me that I'm taking my morning walk down the old road again. Sometimes they let me know that they are there, and I talk to them and let them know I'm not out to do them any harm, and I ask them not to harm me. I sometimes play my guitar on the front porch, and they will move in fairly close. I see limbs move and bounce, and I'll hear their little chirps and whistles. I was in town a couple of weeks ago, and I stopped at a garage sale. I met the nicest Native American woman. Her brother had passed away, and she had come up to clear out his house. She had a little riding lawnmower that I wanted, but I didn't have any way to get it home. She had a trailer and offered to bring it up to my place. She brought it up later that day, and I offered her some coffee. So we sat on the front porch and drank coffee and chatted. She was a little long-winded. I'd bought a book on Bigfoot, and I had it sitting on the table. She saw it and excitedly asked if I'd seen one. I was a little embarrassed and told her no. She said her brother had one chase him one time when he was horseback riding. I told her about the wreath I'd seen and some of the things that go on around my cabin. She asked me if the wreath smelled like urine. I told her maybe. It did have a pungent smell and appeared to have been recently wet. She said the female Bigfoot will pee on the wreaths and hang them out when they are declaring that they are looking for a mate. I asked her how she would know that. She said that her mother knew an elder on the reservation she was from in Wyoming, and that he had made friends with the Bigfoot, and he told many stories of his friendship with the Bigfoot. They even learned to talk together, and that the elder had several of the wreaths the Bigfoot had made for him hanging on the outside of his house. Her phone rang, and she smiled and said, "It's my mom. Every time I talk about her, she calls." She put her mother on speakerphone. She was a bit long-winded, too. I didn't mind. What she had to say was mind-blowing for me. She told the story of the elder starting off with when they first meet fighting a bear together. It was truly fascinating, and she told it with such detail that I almost felt like I was there. And when she got to the part of what the Bigfoot told the elder about the past, it just blew me away. If this is the true history, which is totally different from what we've been taught, Then Steve, oh, sorry guys. If this is the true history, which is totally different from what we've been taught, then Steve, period. Oh, sorry, now I get it. It's just the period instead of the comma. We've all been lied to in a big way. I would have loved to have been able to talk to this elder. She told other Bigfoot stories too. She said she had seen one once when she was a young girl. She said it was the one the elder called Abe. She said she knew it was Abe because it had a disfigured face from being shot, and its ears stuck out like Abe Lincoln's, like the elder had described. She told me to talk to them and to never leave them anything to eat. She said they are people, forest people, treat them with respect. And after we got off the phone with her mom, she asked to see the place where the wreath was at. And as we were walking up the old road, she said, "Come and look at this." She'd found several sets of footprints, all different sizes. One set was very wide. I took a couple of pictures. I should have put something down for size reference. They are much deeper than the tracks we are leaving. I'll send them. On my computer, they are pretty small. Hopefully you can enlarge them. Tell me what you think. And thank you so much again, Steve. Mary. I hope my pictures came through. Never tried this before. All right, let's get to the pictures first before. So I'm zooming in on the first one. Let's do it this way. And at first, I don't know what I'm looking at. It's either the heel. And if I was to just, somebody threw me that picture and said, "Hey, what do you think this is?" I'd be like, I don't know. It's either a horse hoof or a heel. All right, that's all I can get from that photo myself. Now this one. This one appears to have a heel down by my thumb, going on a 45 across my phone. To the top center middle appears to be toes. But like I said, there's nothing for reference. But that appears to be a footprint with toes. To me. And the third and last one, excuse me. That's tough for me. I mean, who knows? It could stood there and swung the front half on the heel to the left, to the right. I don't know. But it's tough. And what I've shared before with everyone is it's very, very difficult to take clear photos of footprints on dry ground in broad daylight, especially with the sun on them. It's just really hard. And if you come across that again and you want to get an accurate, a real good photo, it might be unnerving a bit, but you got to wait till it's getting low light and then throw a flashlight on the ground across it, and that'll outline it perfect. Then you take a picture, or fill it up with flour. I don't know, or outline it with something after the fact. You can outline it on your phone in Photoshop or whatever you have you. So that's what I got on the photos. Now, excuse me. We had an alleged native elder contacted us a while back and gave us a whole bunch of emails of experiences his grandfather had with this Sasquatch, but he said his name was Scar, and it was the exact same story. They met fighting a bear. Anyway, and I didn't have any reason to question. This is a fact. I don't know. Have a clue. I wasn't there, but I'm listening. And The man emailed quite a few times, to the point it almost sounded like reading out of a rote book. A rote book. That's not insulting to say. But anyway, what happened was finally the same person who was emailing us sent me a photograph of a calf moose way up on a broken off tree, way up off the ground, and added in that he won't share with us the reservation it was at or the name of the First Nations guy that took the picture. And then I replied with, well, unfortunately, I know the guy that took the photo, and the photo was from British Columbia, South Central, while they were moose hunting. And I commented with, so, who's lying to me? Right? Honest question, one or the other. But, and then all of a sudden I got an email back from the alleged elder native guy saying, I came forward with my truth and you spit in my face and called me a liar. Now take note. This is no secret. If you are a member of or support offended culture in any way here, you're not safe. Not with me, because I don't give a shit about your feelings. Especially men. I mean, I do, but to a point I don't. When it comes to men, man the F up and quit being a pussy is how I've carried myself. I have been immersed in that way of life since I was a kid. And life's rough, life's tough, but the reality is nobody called that man a liar. Nobody spit in his face. I simply said, who's lying? Which one? That's all I said, and I got the emotional outburst and then ghosted me, and I'm like, I don't give a shit. I don't care what you know or what you've seen. If you're going to blow a gasket and be a member of offended culture, you're just in my way. Get back to the parking lot. Go sort it out with yourself, and the door is always wide open for you to come back and man the F up and join the conversation, and don't be a pussy. Sorry, not sorry. That's the way I roll. That's the way this channel rolls. There's no room for emotional outbursts. You're not going to get any sympathy from me. It's not going to happen. I don't have it in me I just don't have it in me to give sympathy to offended culture, especially when it's inaccurate, blatantly, right? Nobody's spitting in anybody's face. Nobody got directly called a liar. I had two different sources of allegedly where a photograph came from. Which one's lying? Okay, sorry for the outburst, the ramble. But what I'd like to hear is if you do vividly remember your conversation with a woman or what she had to say about our true history, please do email me and share it with us. I would love to hear that. Love it. All right? No matter how crazy or outrageous you think it may be, who gives a shit? Send it. Send it, because every single one of us has our own connection. Spiritual connection, whatever you want to call it. And I am a firm believer that we once did have all the answers. I think that we do have all the answers in us, and it's up to us to hear every single thing we can, and then leave it up to the individual to sift through the bullshit. But we have to hear it all. We have to hear everything, right? We don't have a human being right now who we can confidently say, oh, well, just ask that person. They know everything. Right? We don't, especially today. Anybody who seems to be in that kind of a position to dictate knowledge seems to be crooked as fuck right now, right? Oh my God, he said the F word. Yeah, please, Mary, I love hearing back from you. Such good news. Thank you so much. And I'm so absolutely elated that this place helped you. Yes. That's our Olympic gold medal when we hear words from people like you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, who's next? What do we got here? What do we got here? Oh man, got totally took a branch in the face yesterday with Adventure Dog. Listen to this. I don't know what they got to say. We're going to find out together. I've always considered myself a UFO guy. A lot has happened in my lifetime. I'm 55 now. That many would consider paranormal. But growing up, I never knew what was normal and not normal. How lucky is that? Can you define it, really? How do you measure it? Anyways, as mentioned above, I've always considered myself a UFO guy, probably stemming from my parents always talking about star people and telling us to always look up. And yes, I've had a lot of experience around that, but I'll save that for another time. I saw a documentary TV show about the Patterson Bigfoot, but both my parents dismissed it as being fake and told me that it was just a guy in a suit. That's unfortunate. Ever since then, I never took the subject to heart or really pondered upon it. I never thought there was anything of that nature that had to do with me until... bracket, let's just say I had a lot of things buried in my head, end bracket. About a year ago, I was wading through all the YouTube videos. I saw yours, and it was you sitting in the woods. I thought it was cool. There was videos out there teaching how to hunt, but I didn't think any more of it than that and passed it on. I'm not a hunter or camper, for that matter, and most likely fit the city dweller description. But anyways, I think the outdoors is beautiful and love being surrounded by woods, the smell of the rain and the pine and all the little things that make it magic. A week goes by and I'm browsing YouTube again like usual, and I see another one of your videos. But in the description said something about Sasquatch. It piqued my interest and I clicked to play. Steve. I will say that I've been hooked ever since. But I was always thinking it was strange that I've never had such an encounter. I started analyzing every shred of my memories from childhood and to present, and here's what I dug up. When I was younger, I was in Boy Scouts and they always had outings, as well as my parents would always go take us camping all the time. Parents at least 3 or 4 times per summer, and then add in Boy Scout outings, and I was out a lot as a kid. My family usually go up into Mount Graham, Arizona. These memories that I have uncovered, I had previously considered UFO related, but now I think I've been very wrong all these years. After listening to you and what everyone says, I now know I had quite a few Sasquatch experiences. And this is true to the best of my knowledge and recollection, and I have not exaggerated any detail of what I can remember. I was 7, 8, maybe 9 years of age, and my family was going on a picnic. Right off from the highway was a nice forested area with picnic tables, etc. Well, as my family was setting up the grill and tables, etc., I had to go to the bathroom. Number one, thankfully, there was a little trail next to us that went further into the woods. So I decided to walk on it for a little to find a nice bush to conceal my business. As I was walking, something told me to stop, very sternly, commanding sounding. I have an older brother, and his friend was on this picnic as well. And I naturally thought it was them just messing with me as usual, so I yelled out, "No, I have to go pee-pee." But then again I heard, "Stop and close your eyes." Whatever this was getting annoying, so I decided to just play along to get whatever over with. Perhaps a noogie on the back of my head or something similar, maybe tackled or something. With my eyes closed, I heard them, at least I thought it was them, approach. And then said, quote, "Do you remember us?" end quote, and spoke several names, which I can't remember. It wasn't typical names. I said no. And then he asked if he could put his hand on my forehead, and I agreed, and I noticed that and mentioned that he needed to wash his hands. Overwhelming smell of dirt. But then all of a sudden it was like a movie opened up inside my head, and what I saw didn't make any sense to me at the time, but now after listening to your show, what I saw was 2 young Sasquatches playing together in the woods. He then again asked if I remembered, and I kind of softly said, "Huh? Kind of. Just wanting this experience to be over with." He then said, "Wait a little, then you can open your eyes." I think I waited 10 seconds and opened my eyes expecting to see my brother and friend, but there was nothing. Nobody standing next to me, just nothing and nobody. So I went about my business and went back to the picnic area. Now it gets strange, as if that wasn't strange enough already. In my mind, I could hear a jumble of voices and pictures of thoughts, But when I would speak directly at someone, it seemed to focus on just that person. I was able to read their mind and thoughts before they would speak them. To prove this is really happening, I decided to test it and say everything my brother was going to say at the exact time he says it, like in stereo sort of LOL. Every word, every nuance, every mispronunciation, I said at the exact same time he said it. He was very amused by this, my brother, so he decided to try and throw me off by saying just straight up gibberish nonsense. And Steve, I was able to say the exact same gibberish right back to him at the exact time he spoke the gibberish nonsense. I was in disbelief and amazement that I could do this, but not so my brother. He had a look of fear on him at this point and started crying to my dad. No doubt. That's when it all came crashing down. My father wasn't having any of it. He told me to stop messing with your brother or the belt would come off. I tried explaining to him, but he just wasn't having it and told me if I say anything else, the belt. So I had this crazy ability, but had to just sit there silently for the rest of the picnic. The ability faded quickly after, and I tried to explain it to my mother, but she just insisted such things are not possible. So again, like with so many other things, I just stored it in my memory, chalked it up to an alien experience, and more or less forgot about it until your video. Fast forward a couple years, and I was going camping with the Boy Scouts near Payson, Arizona. Earlier, we had a Sunday school lesson on being kind to others who have less. Try to be more giving person like Jesus. And so here I am, just arrived at the camping spot with the Boy Scouts. It was a forested area, but not overly dense. It had meadows, small river running through it. I was familiar with the area, as I had camped there a few times previously. My older brother and his friends went running ahead of me to find a camping site. And a few minutes later, after gathering my belongings, bedroll, etc., I decided to try to catch up with them. So off I went running into the woods. When I entered the tree line, after a ways, there was a meadow with tall reeds and a person standing in the middle of it. The person looked homeless or vagrant to me, and I was just going to keep running past to catch my group of friends. But then I remembered the lesson from Sunday school to be kind to others who have less. So I decided to approach this individual, and as I was getting closer, I noticed he was super hairy. In fact, his entire upper body was covered in hair. I could not see his lower body as he was standing in tall reeds. When I got close to him, I figured he must be homeless, most likely, or just very unkept up. I started to speak to him. I said, "Hello, how are you?" But I got no reply. His head still away from mine, but just then, the air shifted in my direction, and I got a really bad smell of him and instantly or impulsively blared out, "Wow, you stink and need a shower." I felt bad in saying that as it just came out quick, but then he started speaking, still not looking at me. "Would you like to go swimming at the river with me later?" I said that I might and that I would have to ask permission first. I then invited him over for dinner tonight at my camp or soon to be camp, and he said he might. At that, I said goodbye and began running after my group. I ran a ways, then stopped and realized that the whole situation seemed off. I think he was using mind speak, as everything he said seemed centered in my head and not coming vocally from his mouth, but I wasn't sure. Back at the camp, I relayed the story of meeting him and inviting him over for dinner. And at first, everyone was chill with it, but then they started saying it was a Bigfoot, and that Bigfoot was coming for dinner. I didn't hear the end of it the entire evening until I got to bed, and he never did show up, but that was probably for the best. Now, fast forward a few weeks and a month, and my family decided to go camping on Mount Graham, Arizona. They had a cabin up there, and it's always a nice visit. The whole family is going, and cousins to boot. I think I should add that Mount Graham is probably 200 miles away from Payson. I'm not sure on that, but it's a distance. And on one of the afternoons coming back from fishing, everyone ran ahead of me back inside of the cabin. I stayed behind to catch my breath on the old porch swing and just relaxed for a few minutes. And no more than a few minutes had passed when I noticed a strange, again, super hairy man was walking directly in front of the cabins in the meadow, heading for the tree line. In fact, it looked exactly like the fellow I met earlier in Payson. Same hair color, reddish brown, except this time I could see his entire body. And at the time I thought it was an adult, but thinking back on it, I suspect a young adult. Anyways, as I was watching him, I blurted out, "Hey, you're naked." Not so much as a head turn or anything, but he just kept walking forward towards the tree line. And I got a weird impression in my head that he wanted me to follow. No, I'm not following a naked hairy man into the woods, so I ran into the cabin and told everyone what I just witnessed. Nobody, and I mean nobody, believed me. And a few minutes go by, and all I got was, "Maybe it was a Bigfoot," and laughter from everyone. Excuse me. It was kind of a humiliating experience, to say the least, so again, I just chalked it away as a weird event and stored it in my memory. The next morning, I did go to the area where he entered the tree line, and I remember my brothers messing with me again, throwing rocks. I could hear small pebbles landing around me. My brothers never revealed themselves, so I just decided to leave and go back to the cabin. And to my surprise, everyone, including my brothers, were there and not outside like I was. Interesting, but never occurred to me that it could be Sasquatch. Probably a month or so after that event, I had a very strong dream. This is no ordinary dream, as it seems so real. I was again at Mount Graham camping, but I had gotten lost. I was wandering around trying to find the cabin when all of a sudden, a young Sasquatch was in front of me, smiling ear to ear. At first I thought I should be fearful, but I wasn't. Instead, it was a feeling of relief, as in being found, and now not completely lost. I remember thinking in the dream that I should be scared shitless, but wasn't for some reason, so decided to just go with it. He led me to his family, which was in the dream. It was about a mile or so, but not very far. Excuse me. There was a mother, father, and several young Sasquatch all looking at me in a sort of amused way. They asked me some questions. I do not remember them, but what stood out for me was that they explained to me that I was one of them before. They said they knew me, and I was a part of their family. They said later in my life I decided to have a human experience, and they were very sad that I left them. Bracket, Steve, just a side note, but I do believe we continue on after death with different lives, reincarnation. Just did not make any sense to me this would be the end all, be all, bracket, end bracket. Back to the dream. They explained that I was one of them. They asked me if I had any questions, and I said, "Yes, how do you stay warm up here?" As I was freezing my nipples off, and at that point the mother Sasquatch opened her arms, and it was like I was drifting through the air into her arms. Once close to her, she closed her arms around me, and I felt the most love I've ever felt up to this day, even in my awake life. It was this loving warmth that's so hard to describe, but it was like a brilliance of the sun shining rays of love and warmth vibrating all around and through me. Not a single cell went unbathed in this love and warmth. At this point, I was so relaxed, I immediately fell asleep in my dream. LOL. Yes, asleep within a sleep. Go figure. When I woke to my normal waking reality, I could still feel that loving glow of warmth and just the love. It lasted hours after I was awake, and I will never forget that. And after a while I had gotten the nerve to ask my parents if I had ever been lost in the forest up there, but they said no. They asked me why I was asking, and I just said that I had not a dream of being lost. They accepted that, and I just once again, I chalked it up to a strange thing and stored away the memory. The theory on this is, if it did in fact happen, and I was once a Bigfoot, maybe I chose my current family because I must have known they would be camping a lot and close to my previous family. I don't know, but food for thought. Next. As far as I can tell, that is the last of my experiences, except for maybe one more. I was walking home in pitch black darkness and no moon was out. I couldn't even see my own hand in front of my face. Family was already asleep, and the only thing guiding me was a nightlight in the kitchen. I could barely make out through the window. walking along when all of a sudden, someone spoke my name as clear as day. David. Just once, but very clear and loud. I think it may have been mind speak, as it seemed centered on me. I immediately answered yes. Nothing. Nothing more occurred. Thanks, Steve, for all you do. It feels good getting this off my chest. And I should mention that I have only told one other person this before, and they thought I was utterly batshit crazy. So yeah, there's that. Thank you, the UFO guy. Okay, UFO guy, that's a lot. Excuse me. It's a lot. A lot of people are going to be like, David, are you on the crack pipe? Right? But a lot of it possibly makes sense to me as we spearhead through this frickin' ride of being alive, trying to figure shit out. Excuse me. I'd be curious to know if you went back there today to that same place, the camping place, and just put it out there. I wonder if maybe possibly you would be embraced again or spoke to. Wouldn't that be something else? Wouldn't that be something? Give it a go. You know? Give it a go. You never know. Who knows? What an incredible memory. Crazy. I wonder, now looking back in email, I wonder if Mary emails us back with the history that the native lady shared with her via the interactions with that Sasquatch in their community in Wyoming. I wonder if there will be any potential patterns showing up with what she might email us back with and what you experienced. We'll see, right? You never know. Maybe. So anyway, on that note, I'm going to get going. I haven't ate yet, if you can't tell already yet. I got loaded up on 2 big coffees and then fed all the animals, let the chickens out, and came in here and went at her. So I better go eat some food. And I still have a couple hours yet before I have to go hit the road and drive to go pick up Sarah at the airport. What else? Shit, I was going to share something with you guys. I'm going to start to put my how to hunt videos on the How to Hunt channel. All right? For all you hunters out there. I'm going to start to, we'll see what I'm going to do with all the content from my apps I had previously made years back. I might either reduplicate them and put them on that YouTube channel where they need to be re-recorded, because that was quite a while ago, right? Things have changed. Not the knowledge, but the delivery, where I might be able to improve on my delivery of the knowledge. We'll see. But one thing, this is for the hunters, the outdoors people right now, right? So if you're just here for the emails, I'm not sharing any more today. So what I'm going to do, I discovered a big black-tailed deer last fall, and I decided that I'm going to learn everything I can about him and try and locate him again, and possibly harsh him with my bow this fall. All right, so that hunt is going to start possibly later this week. And I'm going to take everyone through that entire ride of what I do and how I do it and why I do what I do. And I'm going to share that knowledge. Okay? And also, I'm going to share, I'm also going to go out of my way to locate the biggest, oldest, monstrous Roosevelt bull elk that I can find. And I'm going to do that in probably 1, 2, 3, 4 different locations. And that's another goal I have for this fall. And that ride is as well going to start possibly this week. And I'm going to take everyone through exactly what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it, why I'm doing what I'm doing, to share that knowledge. All right. And that's just the tip. I'm going to carry on with multiple species, even fish, but the how to hunt part, I'm going to get right back into making sure I share all of that knowledge clearly, as many people as I can. And it's what this week's going to start off with mineral looks and trail cameras. And I received the boxes of trail cameras from Guard Pro. Got them. They sent them to me to share. How exciting is that? But I have to get. What was I going to do with those? I was going to mail out a trail camera to the people that I have on here with me, and I've been sucking ass at getting people on here with me. But Sarah's back now, so we'll see if I can improve that. The challenges of being a one-man army, right? If you guys knew what I did in 1 week, you'd probably have the people in the white coats in the van come and get me and take me away. But whatever, I'm getting it done. Yeah, so on that note, you have the Guard Pro cameras, and they still are the best trail cameras I have used to date, hands down. And they're roughly half the price of the ones I was using. So, I got a bunch of those cameras. And I have various other brands I have as well that still work, so I'm going to be using them. But I'm going to take you guys through that ride as well and post that up on the How to Hunt channel, alright? Anyway, got to get the boat ready, got to put bottom paint on the boat, I got to get fencing done, I got to get roofing done on the chicken coops, got to tear down all barbed wire fence, replace it. Lots of shit, right? Whatever. It's life. And then I'm looking forward to, I'm going to put the Starlink on top of my boat, and I'm going to stream live fishing every time I'll try. I'll try to stream it live. I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun. How much fun would that be? Especially if you're an angling fanatic and you're stuck at home or stuck at work. It's driving you crazy. You just want to be out there. You can just like slide over and hit my frickin' YouTube channel and watch it live and see what you're missing out on or whatever. See some excitement. That's going to be, I don't think I've ever seen that done ever myself. I'm going to do that. I better go eat some food. I'm bambling. Share my story at howtohunt.com. Alright? I know it takes a lot of guts and courage to share, but I think we have all proven here that there's no judging, ever. And if you want to be anonymous, we haven't broken that intentionally. I think maybe once or twice somebody shared their name in the middle of an email or something. I don't know, and I screwed up. It's not, sometimes they make it, it's almost like it's lined up for me to screw up. But it's not very common that we screw up and reveal somebody's name or something. But and other times I've had people email me and want to remain anonymous, but then they carry on into giving me their whole educational and work history, the state they live in, and it's kind of like, well, and I've had to change that up so that they didn't get found out, as they unknowingly gave me too much for your average sleuth to figure it out. So I'm rambling. Just saying. I got your back. Oh, on that note too, the man who recorded the 5 forest people out in the meadow in the winter in the water has agreed to talk to me straight up one-on-one. How exciting is that? That's cool. I got to get on that too. And I'll hopefully be back tomorrow. Share my story at howtohunt.com. And all the links for anything you're interested in are in the comment section below, etc., etc. And I'll stop talking now. Later.